Hey Moss Maniacs, it's your friendly new media Moss Man here, Zach, the Moss Man Daggy, with another edition of the Midnight Spookshow. Well, Moss Maniacs, if you tuned into a previous episode, you may have noticed that your friendly new media Moss Man has been granted access to 8 films that are part of Fangoria's Fright Fest. Now, these films are not available yet. They come out in September, but I've been given dibs to review them for you, my Moth Maniacs. And so, for this edition of the show, I am giving you my review of the film The Tomb. Now, The Tomb is done by director Michael Staininger, who I believe this is his directorial debut. I'm not 100% sure on that, but at least that's what it said on IMDb. And now, the film stars Wes Bentley, who you may recognize from the films Ghost Rider and recently in Jonah Hex. And it also marks the big screen debuts of Kaitlin Doubleday, as well as Sofya Skya. And the film also has some, quote, bigger names as well. They are Michael Madsen, who, quite frankly, is one of the best parts of the film Reservoir Dogs, and also has the appearance, a bit briefly, by Eric Roberts. Now, the story of the film is, I would say, loosely based on Edgar Allan Poe's short tale, Ligeia. And I have to admit, I have never read Ligeia. I read a brief synopsis of it on Wikipedia, so take it for what that's worth. But from what I read on there, it differs quite a bit from the original story. The story of the film is kind of a blend of Dracula meets Frankenstein. It's more or less the story of a woman who is destined to die a premature death, and she is fighting desperately to avoid the inevitable by cheating death and finding a way to immortality through a mixture of science and the occult. And of course, this also just so happens to involve stealing souls as well. The story itself is quite good and quite interesting, and I just wish that it really explored the story. Instead, what we end up with is a bunch of very short scenes that skip ahead, skip sideways, skip backward, all over the place, and it's very frantic and almost ADD, really. A good example of the skipping around and not really investigating the story is there's a little girl in the movie who appears probably about in that midway point, who in the introductory scene of her, we learn that she cannot speak. That some sort of trauma happened in her past, and she can't speak. Then we skip to ahead about 10 minutes into the film, and it's the second time we've seen her, and by now, apparently, without us witnessing any of the events, she's become more or less a part of the main character's family, and they're gonna take her to the U.S., and there's in the scene, the main character asks her, how do you feel about moving to the U.S.? And lo and behold, she speaks and says, "Could I have a deep dish pizza?" That's the dramatic event. At least I assume it is. I don't know if supposedly she spoke earlier, if there was some sort of hidden revelation they decided to leave out, but that's the first time she speaks, and it's that dramatic line. And it's pretty much those type of events all the way through, from drinking problems that come out of nowhere, to affairs that seem to spring up for not really a good reason. They say a cult is involved, but they don't really explore the characters deep enough. And so it's, like I said, really kind of all over the place. It's a movie that, if they really explored the story and went into the depths of the characters and everything, it could have worked. But unfortunately, it skips around all over the place and doesn't really spend enough time focusing on the characters. It's more of a highlight to a potentially great film than an actual great film. And another problem with it as well is just, quite frankly, the acting. The lead seductress, really, the character of Skya, did not come across really as a exotic figure or a temptress or whatever. She was just kind of cold and didn't really have much expression. And her acting style was really kind of speak like this and hope that it's dramatic. And I don't know, talking slow with pauses isn't quite acting. That's William Shatner. So, didn't work. I will say, as far as positives, though, the music was great. If they have a soundtrack, I want it. Not just for the music score, but the actual track selected. It worked very well. It was very professional. And, I don't know, it feels like an incomplete movie. It seems like maybe if it had, figuratively cooked longer, it could have worked. But, I don't know, just with poor acting, skipping around. Oh, and the dialogue, not good also. At times, and I wish I was joking, the dialogue came off a little bit like a softcore porn. Again, I wish I was joking. A line for it, to give you an example, is the quote-unquote seductress character saying, "You vibrate so much sexual energy." That's some great writing there. So, anyway, overall, I'm going to give the film a D+. I think it had the potential to be a great film. It was either rushed or something along the way, and, I don't know, maybe bigger budget, I don't know. It just didn't work. So, like I said, D+. Check it out if you want, and feel free to disagree with me. But in any case, once more, the film is The Tomb. It comes out on DVD this September the 28th, I believe. And it's just one of the 8 films that's part of Fright Fest. Be sure to check out my review of the film The Haunting from a previous episode. That film got an A rating. Excellent movie. Check it out. And I'll be back with more reviews from Fright Fest to let you know what films to check out and what films you may want to skip. In any case, I'm your friendly new media moss man advising that when watching great horror films, be sure to turn it up and turn out the lights. Cheers.